Hey Weight Train family, I'm John. This is my fiance Ty, and we're going to take you guys through how we make our tofu for the week.
3, 2, 1, 0.
Alright guys, before we get started, there's two things you can do that would really help us to help support this brand and support Ty and myself. So first, in that bottom right corner, go ahead and click that subscribe button. And two, if you want to get something like this pink hoodie or Ty's red shirt or any sort of fitness products, just head on over to W8TRAIN.com and go ahead and check us out on there. Alright, now that that's out of the way, we're going to get started with this tofu. First things first, you're going to want to make sure that you get this brand of tofu if you want your macros and protein and everything to line up. This is the Trader Joe's high protein organic super firm tofu. If you look, it's got a whopping 14 grams of serving and about 5 servings per container. So that's 70 grams of protein in one of these blocks. I will put up on the screen the same exact block that you can get from a Walmart. So if you can get to Walmart or if you can get to Trader Joe's, you can make the exact same thing we're going to be making here today. All right, as I speak, Ty's over here prepping the garlic and onion. So do you want to walk us through some of the first steps that we're going to do?
Sure. So the first thing I do is I take the tofu and before I'm going to start cooking, I like to open it up, take all that water out. It's not as much.
With this brand, there's not a lot of water. Some of the other brands, you will get a lot more water. So this step will be really necessary if you don't have this tofu. So once I get the water out, what's next?
Then I'll peel my onion, and
Okay.
I normally use, you can use as many garlic as you want. It's just preference. I like to use a lot of garlic because we are gonna do 4 blocks of tofu, and I'm Spanish, so we cook with a lot of garlic. I normally use my taco season. I buy this at Trader Joe's. They're like 45 cents, so I have a bunch of them. They're really good. It's have a little kick to it, like it's spicy, but it's not too spicy.
Alright guys, so Ty is going to peel this onion and then peel the garlic. She has a trick that she uses to peel the garlic that I'll let you guys see. See, she takes it, smashes it with the knife, and then pulls out the insides. Might make it a little bit easier for you guys if you're doing this. You don't really have to chop it up much from here because we are going to throw it in the food processor later, so don't work extra if you don't have to. Alright, I'm going to speed this up. Alright guys, and I do mean specifically guys. You might be saying, oh, I can't have tofu because there's estrogen in tofu. That's a little bit of a misstatement. Yes, there are phytoestrogens in tofu, but as a male, your body is not going to absorb that. It's not going to use that. They've done plenty of studies proving that even with moderate amounts of consumption of tofu, that you're not going to have any extra estrogen related issues. Look at me. I don't have any estrogen related issues. I've been eating tofu for probably 15 years now. It's not something you need to worry about. So don't let that hold you back from eating something healthy like this. It can help your diet. Alright guys, pro tip. So if you are going to be measuring out your food when you're done, the pro tip is to go ahead and get your food scale and weigh your container prior to cooking all the food in it. So I almost forgot. Luckily, I remembered to do this today. And we're going to weigh this, and our container is 894 grams, so I will mentally remember that number or write it down.
So you guys gonna use 4 blocks, which we normally do is we meal prep. So this is for the whole week. We use 4 blocks. You want to make sure you have a large pot so everything can fit. So I'm gonna turn off the oven and I'm gonna put it on 3 or just like not too much heat. What I like to do, just a little bit, is just pour a little bit of olive oil, like a little paper, and I just go around so the tofu won't stick, and then we don't have that much fat in our meal. Personally, I start making this tofu like I scramble with my hands, which you can do that, but I like to use the food processor because it's so easy and so fast, and you don't have to make a lot of mess. So if you have a food processor, I recommend to use it. If you don't, relax. It's okay. We can do it without it. But I really recommend this if you're gonna like start meal prep and things like that. It's just amazing.
All right, so what she's gonna do, she's gonna walk us through like half a block on how she'd do it If you didn't have a food processor, and this is what it's going to look like. So just kind of, with this brand of tofu, it crumbles up real easy into these little chunks. And that's pretty much how you would do it if you didn't have a food processor. But if you do, that's how we're going to show you for the rest of the video, just to make it a little easier on her, a little faster, less of a mess.
Then we can just go to and you can see everything a little bit more, not to scramble everything. Make sure you don't overdo it, because then it's gonna start getting mushy and you don't want that texture. Then you can put the heat up to 6, passing the medium. When you start hearing tofu, make sure you stir it.
I'm going to try and speed this video up, so there's going to be a few spots where we go into this super speed mode, because I can already tell it's going to be long. Alright, so once we get all the tofu finished off, we're going to take this garlic and this onion, and once again save time with the food processor. Instead of having to chop all this up by hand, we can real quickly just throw it in there and get everything blended up and ready to go. If you don't have a food processor, it's definitely a good investment. It really speeds up the prep time for a lot of cooking. This is going to be made so much faster than if we did it by hand.
What I like to do when I finish this, I like to push it in more, and I do another round just in case. Let's stir this one more time, and make sure you stir well so it won't stick. And if you see start getting sticky, then you just turn it down a little bit, the heat. And we're gonna add our onions and garlic. We're going to open the taco season. It's used for 4 blocks, and it's a lot. I put the whole container. If you do it 2, I put half of the container. If you're doing 1, maybe a tablespoon or 2. It just depends how spicy you like the food. I put the salt. Let me see how much I want, so I can show you guys. So like around this much. And the paprika. I love paprika. Pretty much on everything. Then goose tip. Making sure you get all the flavors, the onions, the garlic, the taco season, everything mixed together with the tofu. How you know it's everything mixed well? Because the color, you can see some parts are more orange than the other ones, and some have white spots. So you want to make sure everything is an even color. And like I say, you can use all different kind of season. Sometimes I get tired of the spicy, and I use curry. You can use curry too. You can use Italian season. You can use basil. You can use any season that you want. It doesn't have to be taco. But who doesn't like taco? Come on. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna let it cook for a few minutes before we put and mix it with the spinach. So we're gonna put it like around 2. So it's low, and then 2, just a little bit. And what you need to do is you need to cover it up.
And yes, for our veggie today, we have 2 bags of spinach, because I forgot to go to the store and get bell peppers. So what we're gonna do is just go ahead and use 2 bags of spinach, because they're pretty close on the macros. And we will get back to you guys when it's time to add the spinach in about 2 minutes. All right, it's been about 2 minutes. Time to add some veggies to this pot of tofu. This is what it looks like right now. And like I said, we're gonna add 2 bags of spinach. Normally I do spinach and something else, but hey, there's nothing wrong with a little extra spinach. But if you were looking for other ideas, sweet peas, green beans, bell peppers, you could even add some additional onions if you want like some bigger chunks.
Mushrooms.
Mushrooms, yes. And now you're just making me hungry.
Hey, sometimes, hey, I can't even ask corn.
Corn, yeah, corn would be great with the taco mix. All right, now bag number 2. You're gonna cover it and let it cook for how long?
Well, the problem is that our spinach is still frozen.
Okay.
So I'm gonna let it defrost inside slowly. Let it do the process, and then I'm gonna be checking in within 5 minutes and see if it's a little bit defrost, and then it's when I mix it in with the tofu. And you cover it back up. And we're gonna check for another 5 minutes and see how it's going.
Alright guys, so it's been about 5 minutes and looks like the spinach still not fully defrosted. So what I would recommend, if you guys have time, go ahead and throw your frozen veggies in the fridge overnight before. Instead, since we did not do that, we're gonna cover this back up and leave it for about 10 or 15 more minutes, and we will get back with you guys when we check on it next.
So okay guys, it's been like 10 minutes, so I'm gonna check on my spinach. Then you can tell still a little bit frozen, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna speed up the system right here, and I'm gonna just stir it with the tofu. I'm just gonna mix it all together. It's getting a little burning here, so what we're gonna do, when you see like it's getting burned, then you're gonna lower the temperature a little bit.
So you put it on about 2?
Put it about 2. So you can tell that it's not a lot of water because we let that water in the beginning, let it all out of the tofu. And what I like about this tofu is the extra firm. The texture is better. Give me time here. I just want to eat it. So everything is mixed. What we're gonna do, we're gonna cover it up a little bit more. Then we're gonna put it on 3 for about another 5 minutes. Coming right back. Okay guys, we're gonna check in our tofu. I think by this time it should be done. We don't want to overcook it. It's just perfect texture. You're gonna stir it one more time. So what we're gonna do, this is ready. What we do is we turn it off the stove, we move it, leave it on cover house way, and that's it.
Alright guys, so it's time to portion out this food. I'm going to take the lid off, and like I said before, we're going to take our food scale and we're going to weigh the full container with the food inside it. It's right at 4,001 grams. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a calculator, do 4,001 minus, if you remember before in the video we had 894, and that's going to give us 3,107. And like I said before, we're making 7 meals, so we're going to take that, and we know we need about 443 grams per container. I like to do it this way just because it doesn't matter what containers I'm going to use. I can use this container, I can use this one that's heavier, and I don't really have to worry about what the containers weigh because I know what needs to go in them. So you can put the container on, hit the tare button, that'll drop it back to 0. You're just going to take your spatula or whatever you want to use and weigh out 443 into each container. Boom, there it is. And time for the next one. So you can just throw the container on. Like I said, just hit the tare button, it'll go to 0, and then you put your 443. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed watching this video. Tay was so awesome to give us some of her time and some of her secrets on how to cook this tofu. You can really throw this in with anything. I'm cutting right now, I'm pretty deep into a cut, so this is actually a meal by itself. But when I go back to bulking, or if you're bulking, you can throw in a ton of carbs on top of this, because this is mostly going to be, or I'll throw the macros up on the screen at some point during this video. This is mostly proteins and fats. But if you're bulking, throw this on a big bed of rice. You can make sandwiches with it and maybe get some avocado, throw it on and make like avocado toast tofu sandwiches. I used to do that a lot.
Oh, yes.
You can mix in, you can mix in some potatoes. You could, I guess you could like throw it in with some sort of pasta or something, but really like any way you got to do to get your calories up, this would be a great way to color the fats and the proteins, and then you can find a way to throw in the carbs. Carbs is the easy part. So, do you have anything else you wanted to say?
I think that's gonna be it. I hope you like it. If you have any recommendation, you can subscribe and send us comments, and whatever you guys want us to cook next, you know, give us some ideas, and we will take it from there. And I hope you like it.
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Take care.
3, 2, 1, 0, 0.